Have you been to Thailand?
Do I look like someone who's been to Thailand before?
Do you want me to answer that question honestly?
Absolutely not.
You look.
No, I haven't, but I have heard good things. Well, gosh, that sounds weird.
Well, I mean, if you've heard good things, that's fine. I'm not going to ask you what things you've heard.
I've
I
I've I've
trust.
heard I've heard good things about. I've heard better things about Thailand compared to like Bali. If we're talking about the same area, I've heard Bali's quite overrated
Fair.
and it's a shit. Actually, probably not. Destroy Indonesian
Yeah, just like
tourist tourism
all our
down
fans
here.
in Indonesia are just gonna be like, why is he talking about that? So wait, yeah, Bali, Bali in Indonesia, Thailand,
Yeah,
Bangkok.
but
I'm trying to
Thailand
think
is
of.
like a lot of like different islands. So you've got like Bangkok, which is where the nonsense happens. Then you've got
Yeah,
another place where it's just filled with old white I
careful.
guess old white
Okay.
British men. Somebody
Um,
was telling me about this
or
ages ago.
LBHs, loser back homes.
Yeah, exactly. And it's really funny. I guess we'll get to in this episode, but
Yeah,
let's just save all of
fair.
this for the episode.
Well, I mean, I thought you were a Thailand person, but let's talk about White Lotus. I'm sure you're trying to keep things away, but I'm sure you have deep
Honestly,
Thailand thoughts, deep Thailand insights.
it's on the list within the
We'll
next
check.
couple of years.
We'll check your bank statements.
Is it
Let's
isn't
talk about White. Let's talk about
it's
White
in
Lotus.
oh my god.
Uh, the bigger the front, the bigger the back. Hello and welcome back to the Popcorn for Dinner podcast, reporting live from Quebec, France. I'm Bankole and Obiora, and this week we are continuing our 2-month Thailand journey with the second episode of the White Lotus season 3.
You're very lucky we're not having this discussion in public. We're not having like an open mic, because imagine saying Quebec, France, and
Well,
the
hopefully
French Canadians will be
those,
all on your ass, boy.
as she was in this episode, hopefully those who don't know. Anyway, you've just heard him interrupted my intro. So joining me on this boys trip, guys, please don't ask him why he didn't like his massage. It's James.
I didn't get. I was about to make the worst, most inappropriate. This is what I've got in the entire podcast network.
Is,
Absolutely, just cancelled completely. But
is
I
it
had to hold
worse that
myself here.
is it worse than whatever our boy Patrick Schwarzenegger said in this episode?
Way worse than that. Wait,
Oh, fair enough.
it had the entire
Keep it in the
ingredients.
drafts. Keep it in the drafts.
Listen, man, this is an. Is this even OGs? This is like OGs of OGs, the grand OGs, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like episode 1 of the podcast.
Oh my god, I
But
listened to our
I don't
first
think.
episode ever, and it was like,
Oh god, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing. I don't think you and I have recorded like solo. Maybe Barry, like an episode of Barry. Maybe that was just the two of us, like
maybe,
the final season of Barry.
yeah, maybe actually,
Yeah,
yeah,
which
because
was
I
a
think
couple of
Barry
years
had
ago.
had somebody else on, but I've
Jerry,
forgotten. Yeah, Jerry and Barry,
Yeah,
but
but I think it might have been one episode that was just you and I, maybe. But yeah,
or
you
didn't
and
we
I
have
haven't really
like
done.
the Oscars? Will Smith?
Was that before, after Barry?
I can't remember. I
Yeah,
feel like that's
but
like
yeah,
2-3 years ago. Yeah,
to be one of those ones. Anyway, how are you doing? You're ready to get into this White Lotus season.
I am stressed out and I'm cold. And yeah, just it is end of dry January though, so I guess I'm happy there. Listeners, I did dry January, so I mean, if you want to congratulate me, my DMs are open, please.
What follows dry January? Wet February? Like, do you just go all
I was
in?
thinking of an
I know
alliteration
how that
there.
sounded.
Fun February.
Fun February.
Fabulous fun February.
There are other F alliterations, which I guess
There's
I'll
a
keep
lot of
to the imagination.
Oh my gosh. Can you come with that?
um,
Bang, man. You're
I
on
wonder if
fire.
it's is it good counter programming from HBO that they've like set this like not Indonesia, sorry, this Thailand season of TV like during the winter, like not during the summer, like it's like for audiences to just have an escape during the winter.
I guess
Um,
that's the one of the allures of the White Lotus, and obviously we've covered it in Popcorn for Dinner, like previous times we've covered previous seasons, where it's just, I guess, transporting you into this luxury
yeah,
lifestyle, living in million miles away from exactly where you're watching it from, and you're like, I want to be there. But do you
Hmm.
really want to be there though? I guess by the
I mean,
sixth episode, you'd be like, yeah, I'm glad I actually stayed at home. So
maybe I
yeah.
want to be there. I just don't want to be in a White Lotus. Um, yeah, considering their track history. But like you said, we did cover season 2. You covered season 2 with Haja, friend of the podcast,
Friend of the pod.
um, Italian. If you're listening to this, and hopefully you're listening to our Severance podcast, and if you are, then also please check out Haja's Severance coverage, Downtime with Haja. Just search that on any platform to come up. She
Severus is on
covering this.
fire, by the way, and you lot are
Yeah.
really smashing it.
Yeah, they are. Shout out to Ebube, Chinedu, Jeremiah, and AJ. So they're
Shout
covering
out to the crew.
Severance. Shout out to the crew. It's a very, very busy time for us. Obviously, we're doing White Lotus. Obiora is on this episode. Lolade was on last week's episode. Please check that out if you haven't listened to it. And then over the next few weeks, they might kind of alternate. And then eventually for the back half, we plan on having the full White Lotus crew. Speaking of crews, Invincible, they're also doing that. So check that out as well. Yellow Jackets, I'm doing that with Dubaby and Chinaza. Check that out as well. So yeah, we're just covering those shows. I think between Severance, Yellow Jackets, Invincible, and White Lotus, I feel like we've covered the quadrant of
TV,
television.
TV, TV, TV,
Yeah, like
TV.
anything that's not in that quadrant, oh, I'll keep my thoughts to myself. So hopefully there's something that you're watching there. So please subscribe wherever you're listening to this right now. That way you get notified when new episodes drop. Please rate and review. Really, really helps us. Let's go straight into it. The White Lotus this episode is episode 2. It's titled
Mhm.
Special Treatments, which is a hilarious title considering the massages that happen in this episode. And it's written by and directed by Mike White, as all White Lotus episodes are. Let's go straight into it. So obviously you covered season 2. I think you quite liked season 2. You also quite liked season 1. I think more than I did.
I like the
Because
show. I love the show. I
yeah.
feel I mean, if there's anyone has spoken to me, I have a certain special type of humor. Um, I don't know. I feel like this show is very, it captures it perfectly. So it kind of rides my wave. It aligns. We kind of have the same sort of humorous vibe, and
Hmm.
obviously within that, there's certain themes and certain kind of topics that this show seems to
Sex.
explore as well.
Like sex.
Well, sex, I guess, class, power, privilege, the
Yeah.
lot.
Yeah. This season looks like religion as
The
well.
full Monty, yeah. So
Yeah.
I feel like even one of my favorite films in Bruges, it's like you've got the comedy, but within the comedy, it's quite layered
Hmm.
and it tells you something about something, which is, I like to feel important. I like to feel pretentious. I like to feel like what I'm watching actually matters to something. So it makes it feel
Um,
important.
6 minutes in, you brought in Bruges. Well done. Um, okay, so you're not really, because you're not really, like you said, you love the show. There's some TV shows that you love. You mentioned Severance is killing it, which is true. But you're not really a TV person, right? You're predominantly a film person, which is why
Movie, yeah.
listeners can find you on Is This Cinema,
It's
talking
this
about
cinema podcast. We are
the
churning out the
Oscars.
content, man.
Yeah.
Oscar season.
We've covered Brutalist, Anora, Conclave, Sing Sing.
I think, is it
So
next week we're covering the Blake Lively, Justin Baldoni?
I I didn't sign up on that, so I don't know what's
Went
happening
rogue
behind
on
my
you.
back. But that being said, what is like when you saw this cast list, or if you watched the trailer, was there like an actor that you're like, oh, okay, I'm intrigued or excited to see you in this White Lotus? Because the good thing about White Lotus is that it's like a Knives Out, a mystery show. It's like an ensemble show, right? Which we
Yeah.
kind of bring in an all-star cast every season. So is there
Mhm.
anyone that you're like, oh, I want to see what you're going to do this season?
It was more. Let me answer your question first. No, but I think it was. It was a lot of. Oh, I know that. I know that person. Oh, I know that
Okay.
person. Oh, I know that
A lot of
person.
that guys.
I know.
So,
Yeah,
so
exactly,
to you,
exactly.
these are your TV that, even though I know their names like off the top of my head, to you, they're like that guys from
But
TV.
there were some faces where, and this is where kind of, thank God for Google, thank God for IMDb, thank God for Wikipedia, right? Some faces that just like that face.
Hmm.
I know that face. Where's that face from? Then kind of go on IMDb, go on Wikipedia, and you're like, oh, of course.
Hmm.
It's the guy who plays Timothy Ratcliffe, so the
Jason
rich,
Isaacs.
yeah, Jason Isaacs, right?
Mm.
Fucking Martha's dad. I'm
Yeah.
like, of course, and I was like, oh. that face exactly. I knew that face from somewhere. So I guess it's people like that. I think the one face that really stood out to me, well, two faces. Well, obviously Michelle Monaghan from Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, which is proper. I guess Shane Black classic.
This is so interesting. I love. Continue.
That's where I know her from. I know people
I
know her
love
from
that
True.
that's your pick. I thought you were going to go Mission Impossible.
No, no,
I
no,
thought you were
no,
going to go
no,
True
no,
Detective Season
no,
1.
no, no,
The
no.
fact that Kiss Kiss
For
Bang Bang is your pick, that's so
she was
intriguing.
so good in that, man. Hand down, it was just unbelievable. And
Yeah.
the guy who played, so if you've watched Zone of Interest, the guy who plays the evil Nazi guy, Christian Friedel.
That's where I know him from.
Yes, exactly.
I've been trying
It's
to place
happening.
his
That
face.
face, it's like, yeah, that face.
So that's the
Actually,
guy that's the manager in this season,
in the
who's
season, yeah.
quickly great, becoming my favorite character in this season.
It's so like
That's where I know him from. You're
actually,
right.
even before that, even because I knew him from that, but before that, I used to watch this German TV show called Babylon Berlin on, I think it was on
Mhm.
Sky and HBO, and I was like, that face was definitely on that show. So I kind of traced it to that show. And I kind
Mhm.
of looked and I was like, oh yeah, of course he was Hess and Zone of Interest, and I was like, oh, of course, of course, of
But this
course.
actually shows why you're not a TV guy, though, because you haven't called the two TV OGs, which is Carrie Coon and Walton Goggins. But like, that's fine. That's fine.
Well,
Like,
Walter Goggins is, I guess, Tarantino for me. For me,
okay,
obviously he's
yeah,
been in a lot of
fair.
things, and Carrie Coon is Ben Affleck's twin.
Fair, fair enough. This is where you know them from. I actually do think, Obi, I really do think you will like Righteous Gemstones. Do you like Danny McBride?
In doses.
I think you will like Righteous Gemstones because like
In doses.
it's peak McBride, but it's also quite smart. And obviously, it's John Goodman is just aces. I think you
Mhm.
might like Righteous Gemstones. But anyway, let's talk about this episode of the White Lotus. So I guess let me throw it again back to you. What was your general thoughts on this episode, on the season so far? We're 2 episodes in, we're a quarter of the
Yeah,
way through.
it's still. I mean, I get. I was gonna say still kind of building, kind of plot building and
Mm-hmm.
building up kind of the entire scene, and I'm looking forward to the rest of the season. But a lot of things now are starting to peel layers. Like for
Yeah.
example, the three friends, the three blondes. I mean, talk. I have a funny story about this, but um, yeah, you can see there's something there. There's something that's about
Tell
to
the
go on.
story.
Well, let's see. I used to live with a lot of girls before.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
That conversation that they've had between talking about like
A
the
third
odd girl
person.
out.
Yeah.
Yes, that. So I was like the constant.
Hey, look, I tried to say this to Lolade
I was
last week.
I was a
But Lolade
constant.
was like, Lolade was like I was generalizing. I was like,
No,
look,
no, no.
there's a
Well,
reason
I don't want to
to stigma
generalize. You know, she's not here to defend her
agenda. So,
her gender, but
but on the converse, that means we can just shoot. We can
we
just
can
shoot, and
just yeah,
she can't
yeah.
say anything she wants next week. But yeah, I have also been in that place where you're the person that like the different groups, and you're just like, how can you guys just
You're
talk to
like,
each other,
oh,
man?
really? Oh, okay. Just go
um,
listen, man. Listen and nod your head.
yeah,
But yeah,
God, I'm
like you
loving that
mentioned, in terms
storyline.
of it's still a lot of things. I feel like the siblings, that's a bit, I don't know, that's weird.
Game of Thronesy,
Yeah, very Game of
Targaryen.
Thronesy, and I'm getting a bit stranged out by that. Obviously there's the Isaac's character, Timothy Ratcliffe, I guess with the what's it doing,
I
4-9.
think he's in Michael Clayton. He might be in the Michael Clayton film. Like,
Yeah, so there's some dodgy business going on there. And
yeah.
this is the first time I'm still not really sure about the Walter Goggins character, Rick and Chelsea. I guess
Yeah.
that's we are introduced to Greg from the previous
Mm-hmm.
seasons in this
Mm-hmm.
episode.
No,
Was
he
this
appeared
episode
in the
of
first episode. We
in the
saw him.
first
We saw
episode?
him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
yeah, but we kind of he's fully in a scene.
He speaks in this episode.
He
Yeah.
speaks, yeah, in this episode. So there's that.
Yeah. I mean, okay. So you've obviously kind of like laid the map of the entire kind of landscape, except
Mhm.
one or two characters I think we'll touch on. I think for me, the first thing that hit me on first, which was like I thought it was a really funny episode, and like I don't know much about Mike White pre-White Lotus. Like I didn't really like. I know him from like School of Rock and Little Things, but I never watched like his HBO
Survival,
shows. Yeah, I know he's like a survivor guy, which is so weird.
which is
Like that
so
he's
weird.
like
Listen,
he's
we
like
all have our things, man.
he's like a guy who's been on. I can't remember if he won, but he's been on Survivor, and
I
he's
think he
also
did, yeah.
created Emmy-winning shows. It's just a weird combination of things. But yeah, so I don't. But like from White Lotus alone, you can tell that he's a very funny writer, and I think that scene. I don't know any other writer that, because obviously there's British comedy which you and I both love, like we love the Veeps and I think of it something like, but like I can't think of any writer at the top of my head that can write like real stroke natural cringe comedy like what happens between Parker Posey's character and Leslie Bibb's character at breakfast.
That was so awkward, man. I
Where
literally had, like, listeners, if you're watching this, you can see my face. I was like, it's just
it's
like,
just like it's just like Bibb, just like can you just go, just go away,
it's
like
like
it's enough.
they do this thing where they just hold the camera just a bit
Yes.
too long, and it's on her face, and she's just looking like with her eyes kind of wide, like, yeah,
Yeah,
aren't you
Parker
going to notice
Posey's
me? Aren't you going to
I
recognize me?
I could not stop laughing in this scene because like you're right, it kept on going for like a second
Yeah,
or two longer than it should have, which just made it so because you're like, oh, is somebody going to interject? Her husband doesn't say anything throughout. He's in like he doesn't try to like, oh, what are you doing here? What's your name? Like it's just the two
yeah.
of them. Just it was so awkward and so great. But yeah, no, I was like, I can't think of any other. I mean, like you said, I can't think of any writer that just can write that kind of cringe. Like obviously we love Succession. There's a different type of cringe in that kind of show and that kind of writing, but what they were doing here just felt like it felt like what will happen in real life.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
Succession is very heightened and like flowery. Like Greg and Tom are not really real people, but this felt like what would happen where you're just like, oh, where you're the person that's just like, oh my god, can the ground eat me up? Because I'm tired of being in the
Like
middle of
very,
this
very
awkward
orcs.
conversation.
And it's like, I really,
Yeah,
like, I don't want to be one of these two people, but at the same time, I don't want to be those people around the table as well.
around it. Yeah, yeah,
Because,
yeah.
yeah. And the thing about it
It's
is, I guess, when you watch something, you kind of want to be put in a place of comfort. You want to like what you're watching. You don't want to be feeling
mm-hmm,
very uneasy about watching something. But this show
mm-hmm,
just says, nope, we're going to put you right in the middle there, and you're going to watch everything, and you're going to see what happens, and you're going to try and respond to it. So I really like the show is very, like it's like satirical comedy, but it does it very, very well.
mm-hmm.
Very, very well. And I guess that's a credit to the writing and, um, yeah, the directing as well. And he has
Yeah.
full control over this,
Yeah,
doesn't
this one
he?
I was gonna say,
This is
this is I
him.
think that we're not crediting the writer's room, we're not crediting it's just he wrote and everything is like through him. So yeah. And he's apparently like a very, very fast writer. And so like, yeah, it's like this is all him. Um but yeah, I mean and this is recently bias, I know, but like I couldn't think of another show that it's like I think it might be the best show on TV about human adult drama. And I don't mean adult in like superhero. I just mean adult as in, like real things that adults go through,
Real shit.
like, but isn't about plots. It is about like who's gonna get the company at the end of the day, or
Yeah.
which banker is fucking up another banker and industry, or like it's just creating a meth lab. It's just about like the show is just about their relationships,
It's
really.
well, you could even dumb it down a bit further. It's rich people go on holiday. What
Hmm.
happens? Bang.
Yeah,
And it's like you mentioned,
and
it's no plot. It's just, and obviously it's an anthology, so there's obviously can take a few more liberties between seasons,
yeah,
but
yeah, of course, yeah,
it's still a constant rich, mostly white people
yeah.
going on holiday. And how can how many ideas can you generate from all of this?
Hmm.
What kind of relationships, what kind of themes, and what kind of things can you talk about? What kind of characters can you breathe from this? And
Yeah.
it's brilliant.
And yeah, and also Mike White being like a very, like we said, a seasoned television writer, but also probably because he's been on a show like Survivor, he knows what like works
True.
for television. He knows
Hmm.
what makes drama. So he also knows how to sprinkle in genre stuff, right? Which the main one is that every season somebody dies, or at least one person dies. But in this season alone, this episode alone, there's a robbery. A
Yeah.
gun is shown, violence happens. And that's kind of genre thing that kind of like will hook your way in, but really the reason that you stay is for just human drama. That's just it. Like there is nothing. Is like what happens in season 2 of White Lotus. Like isn't it, like what quote unquote plot is moved? Nothing. It's just a week in the lives of people, and like that's kind of like good human drama. Um,
Yeah.
which storyline do you want to start with? Because we've kind of already sprinkled in a few of them. Which one is like right now? If you're like, if I was like, okay, we get to make this show about just this one storyline, what would it be for you?
I am very interested in the three women, the three
Yeah, I mean,
blondes.
I think right now they are the runaway, they are the
Yeah.
runaway favorites.
I mean,
Yeah, yeah, me too. Yeah, me too.
I
That's
guess
my,
there's
that's where I
something,
am.
yeah, like I feel like you kind of get the history in bits and pieces throughout the episode, you know,
Mm-hmm.
where they've come from. I think the Michelle Monaghan character, Jocelyn?
Jacqueline.
Jacqueline, oh, there we go. Um, Good old pronunciation there. Well, you can see that she's obviously she's a lot more she's successful. They are kind of successful anyway,
Famous.
but she's
Yeah.
famous, yeah. And she's just recently got married to this guy that's much younger than her. And
Mm-hmm.
I think all three women struggle with or there's a constant reminder about their age and how they kind of managing it and how they coping with it. I mean, every single time reference to their age is brought up, it's something. I think the guy during the massage kind of tells them that you know,
They
they're
have the markers of someone half their age. Yeah.
half well, for two of them. I was like, wow. Imagine
That
being
guy's
the
a
lady
bastard.
who
That
got
guy's a
left
bastard because
out.
he knows they're together. He knows they're a group. So he
Yeah,
knows by not telling one of them that's like what he's
it's
doing.
going to be a lot more valuable and important. I've played to the
Oh,
guy
okay.
because I thought it was going to be like just some generic. Uh,
I have thoughts on him though. I have thoughts on him later.
oh, what
Yeah.
good or bad, sinister or
Sinister, definitely sinister.
oh
Yeah.
wow, okay.
Yeah. But we'll
I
get to
mean,
that plot
I
in a
guess
second.
once you've watched like 2 seasons of this show, I guess it's that's kind of what to
I mean,
expect.
I was telling Ladi this last week. I do not like anybody that randomly makes friends with somebody on the show. Like, so the sex worker, she's already on Sinister Watch. Like, I feel like there's something something spooky going on about her. But let's stick with the Coon Monahan Beep group. Because like
Yeah.
I think the way they bitch, we've talked about it already, but the way they bitch at each other is so hilarious.
Hmm,
Because
hmm.
there's always a structure to it in which like they kind of start off with very obviously fake compliments.
Yeah.
And then one person is not like, I want to gauge how the other person is really feeling. So they kind of throw in this little bomb and they just wait. And then once
Yeah.
the other person bites and they just start going all in, I'm just like, you guys are just so fucking terrible.
And it's like, oh, I've just done this, and then someone just butts in. I was like, yeah, but like, I've done this as well, and it's like,
Mhm.
oh my
Oh, that's when
god,
it's all three of them. When it's all three of them and they're just trying to compete, you're just like, and she's like, oh, like, we will never get tired of each other. Knowing that her friend just got divorced, it's like, yeah, it's just like everybody's kind of, yeah, I love it.
man, the bitching is
I love
bitching,
it.
man.
I
The
just
bitching is
love
so
it
like
so
they're like, oh,
much.
you didn't think she got that promotion, and it's like, and there's this thing that
Her
girls,
daughter throws furniture.
girls and women do, and they whisper, but like, she didn't. She... I've been a lot of bitching sessions in my
Bitches
lifetime, man.
sessions.
And it's
Um,
like, and they do like
yeah.
whisper to like, it's not even whispering, it's more like quiet, imitating,
Mhm.
responding to, replicating what somebody else just said. And it's like, wow, yeah, this is, this is good
Oh
stuff.
god, it's like it's so good, and like as like Carrie Coon is the person I'm really looking forward to this season, and I really think she's doing some good work, some good like
Hmm.
the camera cuts to her when like Monahan and Babe are talking, and you just kind of see her eyes and her reactions and everything. But also now I'm like clocking that she is actually always has a drink in her hand, so they might be right. She might have a problem.
Oh shit, was it this episode where they asked, oh, Jacqueline, you look so beautiful. What have you done?
That was the first episode.
Oh, that's the first episode.
And she was like, only the basics. And then I think this episode, Leslie Bibb's character is like, there's no way it was just the basics. I want to know what the
Man,
basics are. So is that like facelift,
I think it's filler.
Botox? Oh,
Botox,
filler.
yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Botox, filler, and, oh yeah, lip filler and Botox, yeah.
Okay.
Why do I know
Um,
this?
Yeah, I was gonna say, why do you know
The
this?
basics.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm loving that thing. And I'm like, I'm just loving to see what kind of. I think so far it's been like, so they've bitched about Carrie Coon's character, they bitched about Michelle Monaghan's character, Jacqueline. They haven't yet bitched about Leslie Bibb's character. I want to see if like that's gonna be the thing that happens, or if she's just gonna be the constant person that like maybe she's the real toxic person that just kind of
Maybe she's the problem, yeah.
yeah, maybe she is the problem. Um,
I mean,
do you know
we
who
could talk
is?
about at the end
Yeah,
of the episode, it's we observe, or I guess it alludes to the fact that Jacqueline overhears, so she can overhear them talking, but she can't really hear exactly what they're saying.
yeah, that was my read of it as well. That she didn't really hear what they were saying, but like she kind of dismisses it. Like, so I was interested.
Yeah,
Like, she didn't. Me, let me be honest. Me, if that's me, and I hear whispering, I would like want to know what they're saying because I would feel like they're talking about me.
like you're
But she,
whispering in the first place, like,
yeah, but she
you know,
dismisses it and just goes away. So that could be that she's incredibly secure, which I doubt, or she looks down at him so much she doesn't even care what they say about her. So I don't
maybe a
know.
bit of both. Yeah, I mean,
Maybe a
she's
bit of
famous,
both.
so yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, it's interesting that they showed us that she heard them whispering, but she didn't want to like know what they're talking about. Um, Goggins, Walton Goggins.
Listen,
He
man,
gets
if you ever ask me, "Oh, Jibs, what do you do for work?" I'm like, "I do this
this
and
and
that."
that.
Just did this and that, you know?
Uh,
And like, when it kind of came back to Greg, he's like, "What do you do?" I was like, "Do this and that as well." I was like, "Oh," his eyes lit up, like,
but the
okay,
thing is that we know Greg is a terrible. We know that Greg is a bad person.
evil.
Yeah. So like, I don't. Is that implying that Goggins is also like an evil person, or is it just like this and that business? I think someone says everyone here does this and that. And they're like, yeah, it's a good line of work.
And it's like, yeah, it's either you're really ultra successful in legal ways or illegal ways, but I
Yeah.
guess it's as long as you're ultra successful somewhere.
It's like growing up when kids would be like, their parents were contractors. And like sometimes you're like, growing up, you're like, how many, like, that contractor thing.
Listen, man, they've got business.
You're a businessman.
They got business, man.
Um, yeah, no, but like even before that dinner, Goggins gets his first in all caps scene during the meditation where he kind of gives his backstory and he's just excellent in that
Fuck.
scene. Um, yeah, and he explains that his mom died. I think she said an overdose when he was like
Mm.
10. And his dad says his dad was murdered. So I don't know what your theory is about why he's interested with the owner and her husband. Lottie and I kind of guessed that the guy might be his dad. So the guy is
Oh.
played by Scott Glenn. We saw a picture of him. He'll probably appear in future episodes because it's Scott Glenn. Um, but he mentioned in this episode that his dad was murdered. So I still want to stay on that dad train. So I think it's either that was the lie he was told because it's convenient that his dad died before he was born,
Mm.
or he thinks this guy was involved in his dad's death. But I
Right.
do think
Or
this guy
something
is
related
family.
to his dad.
Yeah, I feel more family than business. I feel like this might be a family thing.
Well, I
Yeah.
mean, it's mentioned in the first episode, you guys have covered it, that he's not, well, it seems that he's not the most, I guess in this episode as well, he's not the most law abiding of all citizens. Like, he can't really go to many countries.
That's true. That's true.
So,
And she
I
does
mean,
ask him, were you arrested? She does ask him that last week.
yeah.
Um,
So he's in a, I
yeah.
guess, special line of work. He does have I mean, he does have would you call it an awakening, an epiphany in his meditative session?
He had, I
He
don't
had
know. It's like,
something, maybe not an
I think he
epiphany,
kind
but
of, yeah, he definitely stunned Amarita. She couldn't, even when she was giving him the pitch after that, I don't think she even believed it herself. She was like, oh man, this guy's been through it. Lottie like mentioned last week how he was a terrible boyfriend, and obviously I agreed. And I don't think that has changed, but I do think he was a better boyfriend this episode.
oh
And I have a
yeah.
theory. I think
Oh,
so. Him and Amy Lude's character, I can't remember her name now. She was a former yoga instructor. They go to dinner with Greg and his girlfriend, who we realize is a sex worker that Greg met in Dubai. And they start fighting. That's Greg and his sex worker friend.
yeah.
So I think one of them wants that like couples would know. Any couple that's been on a double date would know. Like, it's the best thing. Or I don't know if it's the best. A great thing is like when you go on a double date and all of you are having a great time. All of you go home. All of you love each other. But a very close second is when the other couple is fighting, and you're like, oh, we are better than them.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, I'm so glad we're not these people right now. So it's
It's
like,
like, oh, I thought we're bad. We're like, we are better than these guys.
I'll
So
tell you
you
the
kind
third
of,
thing is like when they're fighting, but you have the chance to be like, I guess, counsel, a
or
counselor.
the
So it's like,
mediator, so you can be the better. So that one they know that you're the better
so you
couple
can
because
tell
you
them
give them
exactly
good
what to do
advice.
for them to become more like you. And it's like,
That's crazy
it's
though.
like for
That's
what we
crazy.
did is, I was like, oh boy.
It's like we've been through this as well, and we had to like really think about it. We
I
took
mean,
our
just
tests, wanted to know
patronize away, man. It's like,
wanted to know our types of love
oh
languages,
my
and you
god.
just have to stick with it. It's, yeah.
And they won't clock it because like their heads are so hot. So they're just
Yes.
listening as off.
Who doesn't like being
Steaming.
smoked? Who doesn't like being smoked?
Why not?
So yeah, I think like when they're like, oh God, we are better than this guy. I definitely think that kind of helps everything. But no, they have sex at night, and he says he's going to Bangkok. Obviously, we know to find, or at least track down the owner's husband.
Yeah.
Um,
Did you enjoy her singing?
I thought that was a very good performance.
I thought she was grooving, man. I thought
Yeah,
she
it's
was
like,
jamming.
I'm like, God, Thailand have bangers though. Every episode is just bangers after bangers. I
Yeah, I
thought it
think the
was
thing
such a good
about
performance.
White Lotus is like they have this background sort of sound score kind of thing
Mm-hmm.
that they do that really
Mm-hmm.
sets you into like, okay, this is the White Lotus I'm watching. And I'm not sure if it's not the same. I think it's by season, so they kind of I guess tweak it by season, but it's just that
Yeah, it's
that White Lotus
like
sound
the theme
that's
song is
scored.
like the actual theme song is there's something there. Like it definitely shares a DNA, but this is like a highly remixed version.
Yeah, yeah,
Like the second season was remix of the first, but like I guess because this is going all the way to East Asia, this is like a really, really
yeah,
like
yeah, and it really,
different
I think
version.
it fits. I think it's
Mm-hmm.
kind
Yeah,
of
definitely.
really fits in well the
Especially after
entire
listening to the
aesthetic.
songs on the show, so like you can tell that it's very in line with the songs of that culture.
Yeah, I think another thing is I guess the White Lotus does a good job of I guess showing. What do you think about like them showing like the culture of a specific location that they're, I guess, portraying to the audiences?
So I think White Lotus from the start, from season one, has always been about showing. Like, I can't remember how Mike White put it in season one, but it was like showing this, like you said, mostly white. But I think they've all been white except Sidney Sweeney's friend, who was there because Sidney Sweeney's family
Yeah.
was paying for it. But I think they've all been white. It's like showing these people be tourists in someone else's home.
Hmm.
Like I think Hawaii was to show how American tourism doesn't necessarily help the area of Hawaii, right? And
Yeah.
then Italy, for example, you come to Italy, you sleep with their sex workers, and then you leave, and it's like that kind of thing there. So it's like all of it's the idea of you come in, you take what you want, and
Exploitation,
you leave.
abuse, or yeah,
I think all the above. So, and I think it's always kind of I don't think it's necessarily trying to fix anything. Because I think it's showing like these are like the
yeah,
things, yeah.
yeah.
And Thailand's a very interesting one because, like I mentioned last week, I thought if you told me they're doing Thailand, I was like, oh, they're going to do sex work. Obviously, they did sex work last season, so they probably won't do that as much this season. Although, with
We're, going,
introduction of the French sex worker, I'm like, okay, maybe,
we're coming to Bangkok. Don't worry,
yeah,
it's
yeah,
gonna be something.
true,
But
true. But I do, and I think with the religion of it, and like, I mean, look, these are white. This is a white fan. I think Piper kind of knows it, but I don't know what kind of. She might be one of those ones that like she's so aware of what people are saying, but she's not really a like for lack of a better word, an ally. But like because she knows the buzzwords, she thinks she is. So like, she is a white woman who's come to Thailand to write
for our
about
benefits,
Buddhism.
yeah.
Yeah, and to write about Buddhism and Eastern religion. Like there is that kind of disconnect. So it's whether does she actually know that? Like we see her listen to the monk's book, we see her doing yoga, very Eastern
Getting
things.
absolutely stared down by this massive
Brother,
creep, innit?
brother. I was like, guy, are you not embarrassed? Like,
Like
bro,
literally
are you
face your
not
fronts, man. What are you
embarrassed?
doing?
So like it's one of those things, like, does she understand her place in this discussion, or is she just here to be a white woman that is interviewing a monk in Thailand. Like, yeah. So
Well, I thought you were about to say something else.
what was I going to say?
Or is she just here to, you know, discover some relations with some?
Okay, let's do that. Let's do
let's
that.
let's do it, because I was freaking, like, not freaking out, but I was like, are they really going there? Are they really going
So
there?
yeah, I mean, I already thought they were already doing it. So I'm glad that the show, at least the show establishes that they were not. At least, so whether they decide, God, I don't know if this show is bold enough. I don't know if
Do you
this
feel like,
show is Game of Thrones.
right? So do you feel like you have, like, you're expecting the worst? Is that like your baseline?
Okay, here's the thing. I thought, like I said, I thought they were already sleeping together. This is Piper and Lachlan. I am not
Mhm.
calling him Lucky. I'm sorry. I'm not saying that in
I
this
struggle with that name,
podcast.
Lachlan.
Yeah. So I thought it was, but the fact that they're not doing, from what we know of Piper so far, I just don't see why she would want to do that. Do you get what I'm trying to say?
Well,
Especially because of how she walks away from their, whatever you call that thing, by the ocean. Like she
yeah.
walks away in anger when he puts it up. So I don't
Oh, the
know.
hammock. Yeah, but
Hammock, yeah, that's yeah.
it's like, there's a lot. I guess there's a lot of just like little things that the show gives you, where mentioned in the last episode, where's Lachlan going to sleep? Oh, Lachlan going to sleep with me. Oh,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I was a bit too keen, wasn't it? And
Or even this episode, she's like, "How was your like sleep?" Like, mainly it comes and she like basically shouts like, "Oh, Lachlan, how was your sleep deprivation tank or whatever?" And it's like,
yeah,
yeah, which is why I thought they were already doing it. But when he's like, "Oh, Saxton,"
yeah,
whatever he's, yeah, when he's like, "Oh, he said
played by
you're
Patrick
a virgin."
Schwarzenegger.
Yeah, it says you're a virgin. And so so yeah, I'm like, the way she reacted to that made me feel like, okay, maybe I'm giving her too much credit. Maybe because like I just I'm giving her too much credit. Like she's not actually going to be in an incestuous relationship with her brother. But her brother though, uh, so the episode starts with her brother staring at his brothers, and I don't mean look, I mean staring at with all sorts of things across his face. Where I'm just like,
I don't want to know
boy,
what's
what are you
going through
thinking
your mind right
about?
now, honestly, because that might ruin my entire month.
So yeah, so like. Uh, if anybody, I think is, but it's be, it's crazy though. It's crazy if like
It's
worst
very
worst case
nuts.
scenario is that Lachlan is attracted to both his brother and his sister. That's insane.
I mean,
That's
I
crazy.
I don't even know what to say about that, honestly. Like,
What you meet my
completely
quiet like
lost.
Mike, come.
Like, just,
What shot did you take before you came up with this story points? Like, what was the drink
it's
that
like,
was in your?
I guess he's covered all sorts of relationships, right? But I guess
He hasn't
he
done
hasn't,
incest.
he hasn't done sibling relationships, so that would be quite interesting.
I still don't think the show would do it. But I do think I'm so happy that you said this as well because it means that I'm not because I was scared to say it last week when the other day was like she's thought it as well because I thought it was the fucked up one. You know when you mistakenly say your
Listen,
intrusive thoughts out loud.
we've watched some fucked up TV in our lifetime, right?
We
So, like, I feel like if we're expecting the worst and it doesn't happen, it's
yeah,
like, okay, good, good, good,
okay,
good, 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 good.
yeah. It's just me that's bad. Yeah. So the vibes are definitely there, but so far we don't have any proof, and hopefully that it says that way. Um, let's talk about the parents. Let's talk about the mom first.
Isn't she annoying? Surely I can't be the only person that feels like this, because I think she just irritates me.
she's she's something. She's like I like we theorized last week that she's probably in a post depression stage, and she's probably coming back from having depression and all these meds and everything. Like the way she laughs at Saxon's jokes about the happy ending or about
Oh yeah.
um eating chocolate in Thailand because you don't know which one's gonna have nuts. I'm just like, huh, okay. Like I'm just
Yeah.
a bit like, okay, so
I feel for like this character we're probably doing the most, we've been given the least, if that makes any
yeah,
sense.
no, there's definitely don't look. You have Parker Posey here. It's not a mistake. There's definitely going to be
Yeah,
something.
yeah,
There's
yeah,
going to be
yeah.
more about her backstory, and I'm so sure she had a breakdown. That seems like so obvious that she had a breakdown at some point.
Bet on it,
Also, because
bank on it.
her husband is like really caring to her, and I know that's a weird thing to say about a husband, but like he's like
Well, by rich
He's,
husband is quite it's quite weird to
yeah,
say, isn't it?
yeah. He's
Especially in
he's like
this.
very intentional, like trying not to like put her off. He feels very like is the everything. So I do think there was something there. Speaking about husband, it seems
Going
like
for a lot, man.
what did he say? He only earned 10 million from the
From
bribery
the
and fraud case.
from that silly fraud case they didn't really want to do, but just on a cheeky 10
Uh,
mil.
10 million, just a cheeky 10 million. Yeah, I mean, like
He's
we said,
annoying as well,
that's
actually. He's just using his phone all over the place, just messing up the experience for everybody. I'd go
is
full on
this who you
Karen
are?
if
I
I was
love
there.
this. I love
I'd go
this. Is this
full
who
on
you
Karen.
are?
You're fucking up my holiday because you're implicated in some fucking shitty ass, terrible scheme.
I
So
love this. I love this for you. I love that you're someone that's like, nah, stick to the rules of the holiday,
stick to
of
the
the
fucking rules,
results.
man. Leave your phone in the bag and, try not to talk to someone a million miles away. But I guess for him,
It's life or death, man.
it's life and
It's like-
it's literal life and death. It's desperate times. So I
yeah,
mean, if you had to take a phone call, then why not? But
yeah,
he is going through a lot. He was properly brisk walking throughout the episode, wasn't he?
yeah. He was trying to get to places and trying
Trying
to
to get
get
to
people on the
places.
phone.
He was
Um, I like the end of the episode because like he's on the phone trying to get the lawyer, and then he has this kind of look back to his family, and it did kind of give. I mean, look, he's done bad things and illegal things, but it gave the idea of like he felt like, oh, I might have put these guys in trouble. Like he
Mhm.
felt guilty for what he might have put his family through, and that's interesting. Saxon is just a horny douche frat boy,
just
and
okay. Classic trust fund kid, isn't it?
yeah,
Um, yeah, I think because initially he thinks it's was it the Wall Street Journal? Then it's like, no, it's the Washington Post, and it's like, okay, I am fucked.
yeah, it's
I
more
am,
than one. This is like a like it's gonna be on publication. It's gonna like you Google
yeah.
my name, and it's gonna be like 5 different articles about it.
So he's really up the creek, and
Hmm.
I mean, we kind of know what happens at the end. We just don't know what happens.
We do.
That
We know after
sentence
the
makes
end.
no sense, but it does make sense as well. Like we kind of know something happens, but do we know what happens? Actually, that makes a bit more sense now, actually.
Do you mean like as in like the big story, as in terms of the
So the
murder?
first, so we know we've watched the first scene,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
And
Yeah.
normally that happens, and kind of the storyline is obviously 1 week earlier. So we've kind of seen the end, and it's I guess how we get there. And
But interestingly, normally we know, like we see bodies, and I
mhm,
don't know how to put it, but this one felt like we see one body floating, but like essentially this could end with nobody dead,
yeah,
as opposed to every other season where, like the first one we knew there was a coffin, second one we saw the bodies floating in the ocean. This one we see like Belinda's son sees one body, but like it could end and no, I don't think that would be the case, but it could end at like no one is going to die in
yeah.
this season. But again, I don't think that would be the case.
Honestly, when I went to the actor and before I actually found out it was Snape, I was like, oh shit, he's British. Oh shit.
Hmm. Hmm.
He's actually British and he sounds proper like he's doing like
Yeah,
the real country
it's in a
accent.
good southern accent. Yeah.
Yeah. Belinda, you
Uh,
brought her up.
yeah.
Wagwan.
So I mentioned last week that she was the person I was most intrigued about because they didn't need to bring her back to the show. So
Yeah,
to
so
bring
she's a
her back in this season,
returning character
y-
from season 1. Yeah.
yeah. So to bring her back, you kind of need to justify her existence,
Mm-hmm.
which you don't really need to do about other characters because it's like an anthology. But if you're going to go through, because you obviously covered season 2, and I think I discussed this with you at points in season 2 where I didn't really like, I didn't care for Tanya for like half of the season
Mm-hmm.
until like she gets involved with the gays, and then that's like start getting interesting. But for the first half, I thought she was like just here for no reason. Um, but even Tanya brought in God, I can't remember her name now. Her assistant,
Oh
who obviously
yeah.
had her own storyline. So like
Yeah.
that could have been so yeah, I don't know. Belinda is I'm not saying like I'm not writing it off, obviously. I think we're just steps us in. I'm intrigued to kind of see where like why did you decide to bring her back to this story?
Yeah.
Because you didn't have to, especially the fact that Greg is even here, which is to my point. I completely forgot about the Greg Belinda relationship. Like I forgot that Belinda would recognize Greg.
Does she
from.
recognize him fully, or is she more like that face is very
I
familiar?
think for now she's like that face, but it will definitely click in. I think it
Yeah.
definitely click in because she had that whole thing with Tanya. Tanya
Mm-hmm.
basically promised her the world and they took it away. So like I don't think she's like she doesn't be thinking of Greg for 2 or 3 years, but I think over the episodes it will probably kick in. I don't know if she knows what's happened to Tanya. That's a whole different thing. But yeah, I forgot that connection was there, so I'm intrigued to see kind of what happens. It also looks like she's getting feelings for
Well, I
the
think she's just getting horned up, man.
probably just getting horned up. Yeah, she probably
Yeah.
she has to do it quickly before her son comes. Yeah. Well, I mean, her son's a grown man. She could.
Good on
She.
himself.
Yeah.
Sort himself out.
We before we leave, I want to talk about. We haven't really discussed them. This is one of the good things that White Lotus does, where they kind of highlight the local staff,
Yeah.
right? So I want to discuss Mook and Guy Talk. So obviously, first of all, let me just put it out there. If anyone, not if anyone, sorry, if I am telling somebody I like them, and she's like, "Don't be stupid." Look, better save yourself because I'm taking any and everyone down with me. Imagine I'm like, she's like, "Don't be stupid." I was like, I'm trying to bear my soul
Yikes.
out here.
It's like it's like a gunshot to the chest, isn't it? It's like what?
I couldn't believe that he continued. I was like, "You're such a strong man," but also, he was like proposing
Yeah, and that was actually that
without
bit
a
was
date.
that bit was quite awkward as well. To be fair, just because I watched it, I watched the episode twice, and I was like,
Yeah.
don't know, I'll watch this again, and it was like the smile on his face is like, yeah, I like, yeah. She's like, oh, it's like, yeah, and his face is just there, just like waiting for like some response that I wanted to hear.
I don't
But
know. I mean, it might be a cultural thing, but I don't think so because she clearly states like we've never been on a date, so it can't just be a thing that's like normal.
yeah,
But yeah, we have our first like genre event of the season. There's a robbery.
yeah,
Gaito gets pistol whipped. So I mentioned earlier that I had thoughts about Valentine, and I think my thought is I definitely believe he was involved in the robbery.
okay. Oh, because
And
he invites Mook to
he no Mook Guy Talk.
Guy
I think
Talk. Sorry.
he distracts Guy Talk so that car can go through.
Oh, okay, okay,
Because I think he intentionally parks the bike, whatever he was on, just under
yeah.
the gate so that Gaito couldn't close it and then so the car go through. I definitely think that was the plan. So he probably
Might be
has
some
some nefarious.
insidious intentions behind a
Yeah.
Frenchman. Who would have known?
Is it French? No, he's Russian.
Sorry, Russian.
He's
Oh.
Russian. It's our babe that is French from Quebec. That I'm intrigued to kind of see where that goes. Because like I said, even the way she says, like, what does she say? Cool or hot about Saxon and his family.
Oh,
I
and he
can't remember what
calls
she says.
when Chelsea, so
Chelsea,
the
that's her name, yeah.
Emmylou Wood
Wood.
character calls him dick or prick or one of his words.
Yeah.
And I think like she looks at him and she's like, cool. So I'm not sure if she's like
I
responding
think
to
yeah, I
to
think
hit.
Chelsea's like him and his family were such wankers on the boat or something.
Yeah.
And I think she's like cool. Something along those lines, like maybe she's found a target or something. So I think it to kind of be I think those paths would cross.
Oh
Oh my
gosh,
god, I
you're
just
really
remembered
cynical, aren't you? Because I was like,
I just remembered season 2. I just remembered
maybe,
season 2
maybe,
when
maybe she fancies him or something. Because she was
oh
like,
brother, come on, let's be ourselves, let's be
let's be
ourselves.
honest, let's not be so naive.
I just remember season 2 when Michael Imperioli and his son slept in the same.
That's so weird,
That's
man.
why.
Oh my god, that
Oh, what a great
is.
season of TV. Um, yeah. So I don't know. I think, but Greg, man, I mean, this guy is just a terrible man. Why is he always getting stuck in this kind of relationships and this thing?
And why is this like White Lotus, man?
Why is that like his reward points must be insane?
Yeah,
I guess
yeah.
he's not living at the White Lotus this time. He's living close by, but still, like, guy.
Or could this be taking place while season 2 was taking place? Is that possible?
No, because that's been there for a year.
Okay.
That would have been a good point. But I also don't know if that like is that the kind of show
No, it's
White
not.
Lotus? That's more Severance, isn't it? Than like I like the idea and I actually fuck with the idea
I'm
heavy,
thinking out
but I
loud
feel like
here,
it's a
man.
different show. it's a strong Black Mirror kind of twist, but
I
like it's
thought
like
I thought I was cooking somewhere, but okay, don't really
yeah, I
work.
think it's a great. You're cooking just like the wrong restaurant. Like
Yeah.
you were you were Kami making like the chef stuff while it was
Oh my god.
still
Have you actually
the
seen?
original
Have you actually
deli.
seen one of his like? I know you kind of watch all these kind of cooking shows and cooking the bear and all everything, right? But I kind of walked past this like one of his like Michelin star, maybe one
Uh-huh.
or two, and I was like, is that the food?
Is
Is
that
is that is that supposed to go in here? And I'm like, what? Yeah, I mean, if you want to listen to my fine dining thoughts, subscribe to the Popcorn for Dining podcast.
popcorn for dining?
I was incredulous when I saw that. I could not believe it.
Uh, do you eat before or after?
It has to be after. It has to be
After,
after.
fair.
Yeah, it has to be after.
Is that the food?
Because I feel like
I rewatched Chef the other day, by the way. I don't know
is that
if
with what's his face?
Favreau
Yeah.
from 2014. Really good, really good.
Didn't he? Well, he operated a van or something, didn't he? Or
Yeah, like a food truck with
I haven't seen that in a
Leguizamo and everything.
while.
Leguizamo, who's been cast in Nolan's Odyssey, which basically
Recently
has half
cast for
of
that film.
Hollywood.
Yeah.
Yes.
I feel like it's like all the actors and actresses just telling their agents, just like get me on the. I don't care if I'm like
give me one
30
line.
seconds.
Like,
Just,
yes.
it's like what's his name? Was it Josh Peck? And while the Trinity bomb scene was going off, and no, not him. It was for the people in the car again. Was it
Was Safdie and was it
Safdie?
Quaid?
No, it was trap guy. What's his name?
Oh, was it Hartnett? Was Hartnett in the car?
Yeah, it was Hartnett and
Okay.
yeah,
And
and they're both
Safdie,
looking at each other, and I was like, I can't believe we're the Christopher Nolan film.
bro, Josh Peck and Jack Quaid. Jack Quaid just like, I mean, Christopher Nolan film.
Yeah,
But yeah, and that's a funny thing. Not to go on a Nolan tangent, but like all these guys are willing to do, or at least mostly men. Let's be honest. We're willing
let's
to do
be
30
honest.
seconds, 30 seconds in a Nolan film pre
Oh my
Oppenheimer.
god!
But now post Oppenheimer, anyone's gonna be like, just give me 30 seconds in Nolan film.
I need to
Like,
watch.
look, Matt Damon did a cameo in Interstellar in 2014. Then
was-
what? 9 years later, he's in Oppenheimer. 2 years later, he's the lead of or co-lead of Odyssey. So like, just give me 30 seconds now. We never know where that will lead to.
Listen, man, need to rewatch Tenet. Misunderstood.
I do need to
Masterpiece.
rewatch Tenet.
Yeah.
I enjoyed Tenet the first time I watched it. I did. I'm sorry.
Well, I think
Like-
my problem is I couldn't hear what the fuck they were saying.
Yeah, that's
That was the
true. I
main
gave up on
thing.
hearing
But
like that whole cave scene with Branagh. I was just like, sure, you're
yeah,
speaking
I was
words,
Kenneth Branagh,
definitely.
So I was like, can't say anybody better.
Nah, he loves Branagh.
He does, yeah.
Okay, I mean, I think we've kind of covered that experience how we went on this Nolan tangent just now. Like, yeah, I think we've kind of covered everything, haven't we? Again, it's like
Yeah.
things are just kind of building
Still
up.
building,
again,
but it's given us enough. It's given us
that's that Coen Babe Monahan group,
yeah,
man.
that was.
It's like,
I feel like you could probably just have a full-on podcast about like just those two scenes. In general,
I mean, if we wanted, there's a different. So, I mean, as you guys probably maybe you got to have an idea of how we're covering the show, which we'll probably do until it requires a lot more like investigative covering. But like, there's a way we could say we want to cover this thing very, very microscopically, and then we'll spend like an hour just talking about the dynamics between the Babe Monahan, Carrie Coon triangle. But no, I think like it's just giving good stuff. Like, I always want to see what they're doing. I also never want to see what's going on with the Radcliffe family, even though like I want to see. It's like I'm always scared that we're gonna get that jump scare. Like,
oh my
like,
god, I'm not looking forward to that
incest,
at all.
the incest
At
jump
all, no. I'm scared. Whenever it's like, meanwhile about the ranch, let's go back to the Radcliffe. I was like, oh no, let's go out.
By the Radcliffe Ranch. Let's leave.
Let's go somewhere else.
But I think, like I said, I think Schwarzenegger is going to start intersecting with probably Chelsea, because now that Goggins is out for 2 days.
Oh yeah, true.
Yeah, so you're going to intersect with Chelsea and her French friend.
She's looking for friends, isn't she? So more friends.
Well, she already hates him, but her French friend doesn't. So, yeah, I'm excited. I mean, I'm enjoying it so far. It's like, yeah,
it's just fun.
Good,
it's
good
and
stuff.
It's good fun as well.
Yeah, good fun.
Plus, obviously, it's like away, so it's like I guess.
Yeah, and I know. Look, it's the White Lotus. I know it's going to get darker. I know it's going to be less fun. Like,
we're having fun now. We're having fun now.
You see that meme of SpongeBob where it's just like, oh, the hallway is just
The rain-
dark.
Oh yeah.
I think it's gonna get there soon. But for now, we're enjoying the sun and we're having fun. But yeah, we're gonna leave it there. Like I said, please check Severance, Invincible, Yellow Jackets, White Lotus last week. We'll probably be back for White Lotus next week. If you've just caught up on the Oscar movies, we have Sing Sing, we have Conclave, we have Anora, we have The Brutalist. I think that might be everything we've kind of covered. Obviously, last year we covered like Wicked and Dune. Dune.
Dune, yeah.
Dune. Jesus Christ, Dune. You shall be avenged. Dune.
Mate, do you know she went revenge? Fucking challenges, man.
Challenges.
Just got
We covered
nothing.
challenges as well.
Challenges
yeah.
was so good, man. I can't believe people are like.
Challenges was so good. Challenges was so good.
Oh, covering Baby Girl.
Have I seen Baby Girl?
Have you seen Baby Girl?
We didn't cover. Yeah, I've seen it, but we didn't cover it. No.
My colleague thought it was shit, and I was like, "Whoa, it is definitely a bit better than shit. Can you relax? It's a good film."
Yeah. Well, someone else kind of thinks it was shit. I'm not gonna. Not me. I know how that sounded.
Wow.
I just don't want to put the person out on blast here, but yeah.
So we do.
Let's just say we've referenced the person already on this podcast. And the person may or may not have their own podcast. Let's leave the podcast. Let's leave the episode there. Thank you very much for listening. Join us next week. We'll be joined by Oscar winner Daniel Kaluuya. Bye, guys.
Cheers, guys.